colonial forces have marched through the night. It was a dark and foggy night, and General Green's troops got lost. Here we are, turn 1. The fog is thick and will stay all day. This will be described from the viewpoint of an observing journalist from the London Times, riding along with General Howe. General Howe hears light gunfire off to his right. Then he hears much more intense gunfire directly in front of him, which must be Abercrombie's light troops. Some are in town, some are fanned out, trying to get a feel for where these rebels are coming from. He has sent his artillery to guard the bridge at Vanderling's Mill. He certainly doesn't want rebel troops coming in around behind him, and he's cautiously edging forward. He has the Queen's Rangers moving around on the right.
Heavier fire is heard in front of us. And our light troops are falling back, reporting large numbers of rebel troops advancing.
Lord Howe has sent an urgent request to General Cornwallis to bring up the Grenadiers. And now firing is heard off to our left. The Continentals are everywhere. General Howe sounds the recall of his light troops and sets a wide defensive line. He hears his artillery opening up at Vanderling's Mill. These congressional troops are everywhere. First, some combat off to our right. We are not sure of the result. Then we hear heavier cannon fire coming from Vanderling's Mill. A rider comes racing up the road from the mill and says we've driven off those rebel forces. It was a half-hearted attempt at best. And now it's late morning. In the morning, colonial troops strike the household guard.
As the rebels strike, General Howe decides to give them a sharp rebuke. Maybe this will send them packing.
But suddenly, there are rebels everywhere. As an opossum comes up the road, he's met by a rider who says, "Follow me, sir." And he heads up the Old York Road, off to our left. And the light troops come streaming back after they've held up the rebel forces. J. Grant's troops stream forward. Although the rebels put up a fight, they were no match for our British regulars. And then the determined attack to our right, which is the household guards. Those wretched colonial troops are driven off. But those dirty cowards have attacked us in the rear and from the side. And now, those plucky hobbits from the Shire have been driven down. And off to our right. The possum is arriving just in time to see his troops falling back. Can he change this around? Our detachment of light troops are able to hold up the colonial advance on our right. It's midday. General Howe wonders how soon the Grenadiers will arrive. And General Howe's troops fall back, anticipating the arrival of the Grenadiers. And General Kniphausen rebuilds his line. And the Queen's Rangers begin to circle around to the back, but they're out of command. It's midday, and both armies seem to be reorganizing and getting ready for a push in the afternoon. In the early afternoon, the rebels sweep into our right, while simultaneously hitting our left. General Kniphausen, fresh to the battle, reacts with warmth. Cornwallis arrives with news. The Grenadiers are on their way. General Howe passes the baton to General Cornwallis, and he sends a rider off with orders with his authority. Cornwallis's command continues to fall back, a fighting withdrawal, waiting for the Grenadiers to arrive. On the right with General Kniphausen. Fighting is desperate and bloody, and Kniphausen's troops have definitely received the worst of it. And now it's turn 6, the late afternoon. In the late afternoon, Kniphausen forms up his command and hopes he can hold against any colonial aggression. The rebels strike at Grant on our left. We pull our bags back. Grenadiers deploy along the Germantown pike, and Howe's adjutant takes control of the Queen's Rangers. J. Grant holds tight on our left.
We hear heavy fighting, but have no reports of the result.
And now it's early evening. Colonials drive hard in the center, but Cornwallis is wily and responds with characteristic elan. The Queen's Rangers begin exploring behind the lines of the colonial troops. In the fog, it is hard to make out anything. Our combat in the center.
And finally, it is too much. The American army breaks and runs.
6 blocks breaks the Continental Army. It takes 5 infantry blocks to break the British Army. It was close, but Philadelphia is safe.